to kneel during the national anthem in 2018. Team owner Stephen Ross has news for them. Don't even think about it. Ross telling the New York Daily News that at first he supported players taking a knee during the anthem, but that is no longer the case. Meanwhile, the Texans refuted a recent report that suggests Houston would not sign a player who has protested in support of social justice issues. D'Angelo Hall back with us. Good to see you again.
Yes, yes.
I want to start with you. Do you have a problem with owners taking this position here?
Absolutely. Absolutely. At the end of the day, like you said, Stephen Ross at first supported the players. And he said, we live in America where you have the right to speak freely and protest. And now he's saying, no, I don't want you to do that. Like, that just doesn't make sense. Are we not in America? You know? So I totally disagree with it. Owner should not be able to tell you. But because we're in the NFL and the way the NFL's run, it's not run like the NBA. The NBA, all your superstars speak up. They fight together. You know, if Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers were our NFLPA presidents, and, you know, like Chris Paul and LeBron, how they're so instrumental in everything that happens in the NBA, we'd be a different league. We probably would not have ended the lockout when we did, because a lot of players that I know and have spoken with did not want to end the lockout, did not feel like we got what we wanted. And so that right there makes me happy that I've played 14 years and I feel like I'm done, because I don't want to be a part of a league like that.
Good for Stephen Ross originally for saying what he said. And maybe he's dealing with political realities as a powerful businessman, and given the current administration, he has to say certain things that he doesn't really mean. However, I can't assume that. I have to take him at his word. I have to interpret literally what he said. Explicitly, what Stephen Ross said is idiotic. It's moronic. I'm not saying Stephen Ross is an abject moron, but I am saying what he said is abjectly moronic and incorrect. And let me explain. And this is very simple, and I hope this gets challenged up the courts. We hear a lot defense of forcing compulsory standing for the national anthem, saluting the flag, all these kind of things. We hear a lot about how, yes, you have First Amendment rights, but still you're responsible for your behavior, and your employer it doesn't mean you can say whatever you want at your job. You may not have that job if you say whatever you want. And you know what? Okay, that's the world we live in. That's the country we live in. Or so I thought. Here is the problem. And this is cut and dried. I defy anyone to challenge this idea. Is kneeling a form of speech? The owners, like Stephen Ross, are arguing, yes, you are making a statement when you kneel during the national anthem. Well then, damn it, duh, so is standing for the national anthem. That is a form of speech. And while your employer may not be able to tell you, or may be able to tell you, you can't say that at work, my question is, do we live in a country where your employer can tell you, you must say that at work? You must espouse these political beliefs, these religious beliefs, these ideological beliefs. Can your employer tell you, you must parrot their point of view? If the answer is no, well then, of course, they cannot make you stand for the anthem. Period. For Stephen Ross to come out now and say, well, it will be interpreted a certain way if you kneel. Oh, so it's okay for them to speak at work as long as they speak what you believe. But when they don't speak what you believe, it's not enough for them to simply not speak. In other words, all right, stay in the tunnel. We won't make this a compulsory event. No. When they speak what you don't believe, now they must speak what you believe at work. Sorry, I don't believe that's the way it works, and I would love to see this challenged up the courts.
Before I answer this question, I just want to make sure for clarification purposes, Max Kellerman, your problem is with this one sentence above all else. All of our players will be standing. Is that correct?
No. My problem is with his explanation for why he's changed his mind.
So the explanation, okay? Now, I'm glad you said that. Because, you see, I have a problem with Stephen Ross saying all of our players will be standing. That is the only problem I have with what he said. I disagree with you, and I respectfully disagree with you. And here's why. When the NFL owners were losing ratings, and they ultimately were losing money, and their bottom line was being compromised. Any of y'all players talk about giving the money back that y'all earned?
No.
Exactly. Because what they did was they signed this agreement, this collective bargaining agreement with y'all. And it stipulates there's a portion and a percentage of the dollars, football-related income that you're going to get. They were also projecting what they're going to get. $14 billion one year. It's going to elevate to $18 billion by 2025. It's going 2027 rather. It's going to elevate to $25 billion a year. So they're projecting what money they're going to earn based on the expertise and the excellence of you guys, along with their business acumen. And our product, our brand is going to generate these amount of dollars. What they're saying is that, excuse me, that was compromised. Let's read this quote from Stephen Ross, because I'm going to come to you, Max. This is a quote from Stephen Ross. Initially, I totally supported the players and what they were doing. It's America, and people should be able to really speak about their choices. He said, when that message changed and everybody was interpreting it as the reason in terms of being unpatriotic and anti-military, that's when he changed his mind. What Stephen Ross is saying to you as a human, hold on.
Okay.
What Stephen Ross is saying to y'all as a human being is that I'm in the business of football. I support what y'all are doing. I support where y'all are coming from. If you look at some of the works that he's done in the community, clearly he has. What happened is because the president of the United States successfully hijacked the message.
They get to co-opt the speech of the players?
Time out, and changed it into something that it wasn't. That ultimately affected their bottom line. And so now they have to make a choice. Am I going to side with y'all at the expense of my bottom line? Now, me personally, because I'm a black man, I feel that way. You happen to be the man that you are, you'd still side with, the minority community as well, which I applaud. But him as a billionaire businessman, who in the grand scheme of things really cares about his bottom line, we're going to sit up here aghast and shocked and appalled that a businessman who does not happen to be black, okay, who doesn't believe he's engaged in police brutality, who doesn't believe that he has something to do with the issues that Colin Kaepernick brought up, and Colin Kaepernick confirmed such things because he talked about racial inequality, police brutality, et cetera, et cetera. He talked about things, and at no time did Colin Kaepernick protest the NFL. But he's asking the NFL to pay the price because of a position he took, which I applaud him for, but he took that position, but it wasn't against the NFL. So why should an NFL owner not be able to say, I'm not down with that affecting my bottom line?
I have an answer, but D'Angelo, you've been waiting.
No, you just said the message was one thing. Then the message changed.
Yes, sir.
The message didn't change.
It was hijacked.
Yes, there you go. People perceived the message to be something else.
Right.
So then it snowballed and just took on a shape of its own.
But what was the effect?
Okay, let me answer that.
That was the effect, but that's not our fault.
I agree.
There are two things here. I want to get through both of these. One, take your thought to its logical conclusion.
Sure.
If, because something affects the bottom line, if someone hijacks or co-opts someone else's speech and changes its meaning in terms of the public perception, and if that has an effect on someone's bottom line, what you're saying is someone else is allowed to co-opt your speech.
Got it.
No, I don't care what effect it has on the bottom line. Not in America. That's one.
Hold on. What do you mean by co-op?
In other words, the players are making a certain statement.
Right.
Because the president hijacks, as you put, what the meaning of that statement, and according to Stephen Ross, changes the meaning of the statement. Now Stephen Ross is saying, without the players saying anything new, their statement has changed. So someone else gets to change your statement?
I won't interrupt. I got to come right at you with a direct question. I got to put you on the spot here, Max. Stay with me, D'Angelo. Max Kellerman is an extraordinary boxing analyst for HBO.
We can all agree with that.
Well, we can all agree with that. I won't refute that. I'll refute anything else about your sports knowledge, but not that. You're a great sports boxing analyst. You're giving boxing analysis.
Yes.
HBO is stuck in a position where Max Kellerman feels adamant about this. But in the same breath, if you take those positions publicly and somebody switches or co-ops them, whatever words you want to use, it suddenly compromises their bottom line when they have nothing to do with it.
Completely different.
Okay, please explain.
There is a ceremony that was inserted into sporting events. The anthem, the flag, that's a ceremony that's not necessary for a sporting event.
Right.
Insert it. You know why? Because it's popular. Because
Okay.
people by and large like it or liked it throughout the years. Okay. Those who are allowed to have voices clearly liked it throughout the years. Okay. That is if you kneel during that ceremony, people take that as a political statement. That means if you stand during the ceremony, you're also that is a form of speech.
Okay.
If one is, so is the other. It can't just be that the protest is a form of speech. Acquiescing to the ceremony is also a form of speech. Therefore, if you're going to have that ceremony, the only way around this thorny issue, it's not a sexy solution, but this is what works. Don't make it compulsory. You don't have to have the players on the field, but they don't have to be on the field if they don't want to stand. But what you cannot do, I'm sure you cannot do this. It needs to be decided. That's why I say I'd love to see a legal challenge. But I'm sure this is the case. You cannot say you must be on the field.
I agree with that.
And you must make a political statement that I agree with on the field.
We all agree.
But that's what Stephen Ross is saying.
We all agree there. Yeah. You can say it's what he's saying, and that's fine. But what I'm saying to you is that directly or indirectly, tacitly or otherwise, we understand that in a world of big business, sometimes it's that wink that comes your way. He was stupid enough to say it publicly, but I'm just talking about the overall thinking. It happens all the time. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But that has to happen. You have to be given the option. Look, guys, if you're going to kneel, just because it's viewed as disrespectful, that wasn't the intent at all. At all. Mm-hmm. Everyone loves the military, the armed forces. I mean,
totally agree.
You know, so that's not it at all. And so it was perceived that was it. Mm-hmm. You know, you're showing disrespect to the military. No, that's not it at all. We're showing disrespect to the establishment that's stopping blacks and that don't prosecute. The injustice in the system. And so, you know, for me, I would love to see that happen. I would love to see the players be given a choice and say, hey, guys, if you're not going to stand, just please respectfully stay in the locker room.
No one gets to tell anyone else what the flag represents to them.
To them.
They make that determination. This is America.
I agree.
So you don't agree with Stephen Ross?
Stephen Ross better rethink that position quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Preaching right now. D'Angelo, you need to go, though. You've got NFL Live to do. We'll check you out later on there today. Thank you for being with us.
But he ain't said anything that shocked me. They all like that.
All right. Coming up, Von Miller had yet another season of double-digit sacks, but find out why he believes he deserves some of the blame for the Broncos' disappointing season. And what one word would Stephen use to describe one of the best point guards in the NBA? We're breaking out the dictionary for Damian Lillard. Don't go anywhere.
Max Kellerman, did you